Every time I nail that sequence, I'm surprised by it.
I'm still surprised because it's been, what, a couple weeks?
Yeah,
Couple weeks.
like a year, technically.
There's a rollover. There's a rollover date on the year, but it hasn't been a year.
Didn't you buy this super fancy mic so that you don't have to shove it in front of my face because it has IR sensors?
Except you were looking this way and you weren't talking to it.
Well, then here. I'm talking to it now.
Good.
How would I
That's
talk?
exactly where I put it. Thank you.
Right into the microphone.
I'm done already.
Welcome back, guys.
Welcome, guys.
Welcome back to the RTFM show, where we're going to talk about reading, social infrastructure, and politics.
But a lot of you got
Nice.
a lot of you got to do the reading because
Honestly, I'm finding it more fun doing the show with like just a phone as a screen because like having no notes and going in blind is great because you guys always
Do you think I have notes? There's no notes for me on this one.
I have both chats open,
Both
Nice.
chats.
the Discord as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot you do live Discord questions.
Yeah.
Because Gen Z. Oh yeah, that's what we were talking about last time.
What?
We went on that whole like 20-minute tangent about why Nick's car was a Gen Z car.
But update, the Discord's closed. The question parts is so
Well, next week's will be open at some point.
next Tuesday.
I should put the mic like right here, like in front of my nose.
Why would
How's
you wanna
that?
do
Does
that?
that work?
So you get a super Dolby Atmos every time you.
I can't help it.
We heard
help
you like to while you're.
One of these days I got to do a super cut of like one day when
It's like when people cut out the words and they just leave the
yeah,
breathing.
just Eminem, the Eminem ones are always hilarious because he always breathes in like super intense because
Yeah.
he's in the middle of a rap.
Well, because he's got to go like
Yeah.
a long time.
He's got to go lose himself in the music.
The moment you own it.
How does he make room after all that mom's spaghetti, though?
I don't know.
Anyway, welcome to the first show of 2025. We're almost into February. Hey, we're doing better.
It's been a long year.
Yeah.
I saw some discussion about.
There
hey,
was a GPU or two that like kind of launched in the middle of the phrase.
I saw some discussion before we went live of like, last time Jay took a break, it's about a year before he comes back. So,
Yeah, one of the first comments was just like, "Hey, we get an RTFM episode. We don't have to wait a year." And then Akil was like, "Technically, we did wait a year because."
I'm sorry,
first
but
episode of
the date
2025.
rollover does not equal a year. I had to tell my kid that too, because my youngest around New Year's kept telling her friends, "I'll see you in a year." It's like,
Yeah.
no. You're supposed to say, "I'll see you next year."
Yeah.
No. Next year is a year. It's like, no, next year is tomorrow. It's like she just wasn't getting it.
I feel that's like conversations with Drax from Guardians
Oh,
of the
yeah.
Galaxy.
Oh, yeah.
He takes things too literal.
Why is Gamora?
If you haven't been on
That was one of the funniest lines I've ever seen.
anyone that's been on the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind ride at Disney World, it's hilarious.
Is that the one that I had a heart attack on, basically?
You did not go to Disney World.
Oh,
Disney
World. Okay.
Yeah. So the Cosmic Rewind's actually a roller coaster.
Oh,
And
okay.
and the cars rotate 360 because it does some really fun stuff. But anyway,
Fun.
of course Drax has like a so it's funny, like Rocket says, like he says the mission, he's like, it'll be a piece of cake, and Drax goes, wait, there is cake.
Yeah.
He's like,
Somebody needs to
where
cut
is
that
this
with
cake?
somebody needs to cut that with the whole portal, like the cake is a lie. What? There's cake?
There was another one. I can't remember what it was later. They mentioned food again. He's like, first there's cake. Now I think it said oh yeah, because he says, if you guys don't make it, you're going to be toast. He goes, first there is cake. Now there is toast. This mission is making me hungry. It's just, yeah. Could you imagine going through life being as literal as Drax?
Sometimes I would like to, but
You're like halfway
Really?
there.
yeah, we're halfway there.
Nothing goes over his head. His reflexes are too sharp. He would catch it.
I would catch it. Nothing goes over my head. My
I've
reflexes are too
mastered the
sharp.
ability of standing completely still. I
I
become
would catch
invisible.
it. Oh, I want some of that whiskey back there so bad, but I'm not going to.
Oh my god, I'm crying laughing, still just remembering the freaking why is Gamora in like that moment in theaters was so funny. Like it's been a while since I've actually laughed out loud in a theater. Yeah, people are saying I'm a little bit cut off.
No,
on the side.
I know what happened. I bumped the camera
Oh,
when I was putting the soundboard up. Nick, do you want to fix it?
Oh,
aim it slightly.
You just have to,
towards
like,
me.
Yeah, you just have to turn it slightly that way. When I was putting that soundboard up back there, I bumped it, and I wasn't sure if it moved or not.
I mean, it could have been like the 30.
I'll tell you when to stop.
Yay!
Stop. There we go. Cool. It's also why it looks like on level. That
So
shadow.
clearly the key light is in front
That
of where
shadow
Nick
was Nick. In case you're wondering, he was behind the light.
It reminds me of the Star Destroyer in A New Hope coming into the frame.
Oh yeah.
The beginning.
Oh.
There's just a shadow of it. Except it's Nick's face.
You need the tantive running away from it.
Yeah.
What I love about that is that was just a practical model with real lighting when they did that. you
Oh
know?
yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah. What was a computer?
50 series stuff, man. Okay, so obviously we can talk about 5090 now all we want. Yeah, a little disappointing, no? I mean,
I think
it's 4090 Ti. It's really what it is.
I think if the 3090 to the 4090 jump did not happen the way it did, then it would feel like a normal generational improvement. But unfortunately, like we found out, we never really realized how much faster
The
4090 got versus the 3090.
the abnormal, like the anomaly jump was actually 30 to 40. 40 to
Yeah, that's what I'm
40
saying,
to
yeah.
40 to 50 is the like the realistic
A normal,
jump.
yeah.
Because realistically in the past it was always about 22 to 25%.
Oh, just to clarify, we can't talk about the little brother yet, right?
No.
The 80. Okay. So that's still up.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Can't talk about any of that.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that
Well, it exists. That's all we can say.
we already know that. The 5090 though, man, they're just I think this is where I think a lot of gamers I want to back up a little bit. The forums and stuff I belong to where I lurk and I read a lot of the discussions. It's fairly divisive. There's a lot of people that are just like, dude, like multi-gen is going to get better. It's the future. Live with it. Deal with it.
Frame gen?
Multi-frame gen specifically. They're like, stop being a whiny little bitch. Like that's the kind of stuff that they're saying, right? And then the other people were like, no, I want raw horsepower. I want raw horsepower. But at the end of the day, if they can get a base frame generated in the game engine, right? And then the GPU can actually insert interpolated frames and there's no input lag that's noticeable, would you buy into it?
Well, that's impossible.
I know it's impossible, but we can get close, but it'll never be impossible or never be fully native input versus the drawn frame that the displayed frames. Because a big difference between drawn frame and displayed frame.
Yeah.
So
nowadays, yeah.
So I'm just wondering, like with Reflex 2 coming out.
Well, that's kind of the like what is it? Counterintuitive thing about frame gen is that for it to feel good, you have to have already a high base input frame rate, which requires a card with a lot of horsepower.
Which requires already like a 90 series card.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing is that like you already have the card if you have a 5090, right? You already have the card with all the horsepower to get you a decent thing. So I think I heard it mentioned somewhere once, and it was like probably the most neutral I've ever heard Nvidia talk about frame gen, where they said it's like the guy was saying he was talking about how it's basically kind of just like filling the gap between where your rendered frame rate is and the hertz of your monitor. If you have like a 240 hertz monitor, I like frame gen is kind of pointless for I think people with like 120 hertz, 144 hertz monitors, just because like if you have a 5090, you're probably already rendering the game at those frame rates are close enough. You know what I mean? But like if you have a 240 hertz monitor or a 360 hertz monitor and something like that, and you really want to just see what 360 hertz in Cyberpunk looks like, you know what I mean? Even though you're not going to be getting that input latency, it's cool. It's just, yeah, there's no getting away from the feel of the fact that it's always going to feel like the input frame rate.
See, the crazy thing, without using DLSS in our tests, like Cyberpunk 2077, the base frame rate with our RT medium preset, no DLSS, no upscaling,
Yeah,
no
but
frame gen,
rendering native at 4K.
was what? I think it was like 62.1 FPS.
Yeah, which is honestly insane to think about.
It is
what
because
doing,
without
but
DLSS and ray trace, even though there's no ray trace for the only ray trace feature that does not enable when you do ray tracing medium preset in Cyberpunk is reflections.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
so it's all the lighting.
Yeah,
It's all the lighting and shadows, but reflection isn't on. But to think that it takes that much horsepower in 4K to reach 60,
like it's still so easy to forget that like 4 generations ago this was only supercomputer territory.
Yeah.
where you know what I mean. You were rendering an offline frame for like CG and stuff.
Well, it makes me wonder what the next process node has to look like, because we only went from 5 to 4 nanometer. We really, if you look at the power increase and the core count increase, the performance jumped up literally
literally in a line.
Yeah, they went up
In a line.
parallel.
X equals Y.
No, it's just it really is just that much more CUDA cores, that much more power limit equaled that much more performance. It really was.
Yeah, like they didn't do any. There was less silicon magic this time around, and more just like shove a bunch of more crap into the die.
And like we talked about, the jump from 3090 to 4090 was not only a massive core count jump from what 10,000 to over 16,000,
Mm-hmm.
60% more cores, but it was also like a gigahertz in frequency jump too.
Yeah.
So it was both those things together, not just core count.
And I think, I mean, we were talking about this a lot offline when we were, doing all the 5090 stuff, but like, I think the 4090 was really when Jensen decided to, like, because you have like the RTX professional line, right? The X Quadro line,
Yeah.
like what they used to
RTX 6000.
RTX 6000 Ada is what the latest one is. It's
'Cause-
probably going to be RTX 6000 Blackwell,
right?
After
Because it
comes
just references the architecture.
yeah. And so those are like those are the cards that like the AI inference businesses buy, like the science people, all that sort of stuff, because those cards are like $7,000.
Yeah.
But it's because you get a full fat die with no cut downs and also like a crap ton of VRAM versus the consumer cards.
Yeah, what was it, 92 gigabytes of VRAM or 96?
The newer Blackwell one's rumored to have 96.
Yeah, 96.
I think Ada had 48, whereas a 4090 has what, 24?
32. Oh, and 49, yeah, 24.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought you said
So
5090.
4090, I think the 4090 was really when Jensen decided, let's put the 90 tier card smack dab in the middle of the RTX professional line and the 80, like the 80 gaming card.
Yeah,
And then it became its own kind of like Halo product-y.
the 5090 really just is an entry-level professional card.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Especially like if you're hardcore into, like, I mean, yeah, a lot of the buzz that I keep seeing around is just, it's like a lot of AI people are just like, dude, 32 gigs RAM, nice. and faster RAM.
And there's that many
many more
And there's that
cores.
many AI developers around, both big and small, huh?
Well, it's like, it's one of those things where it's kind of like ray tracing in video games, where it's just like I was telling you about how like RAM requirements for models and stuff. It's like either you have enough RAM or you buy a card that does have enough RAM.
Yeah.
Or you don't run your model. You know what I mean? And you can't mess around with it. You can't like do whatever AI people do with their things. I'm not that versed into it, but yeah, like it was weird seeing that 3090, like the 3090 Ti always felt like, oh cool, it really is just the full fat gaming version of this card. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like give me the not cut down version with like all the VRAM and all that sort of stuff. And then the 4090 was like, it had like 50% more cores than a 4080. And then now the jump between 5080 and 5090 core count wise is double, more than double actually. The 5080 has literally less than half the cores of a 5090, which is to me like, it's crazy how they've made that gap between the 80 and the 90 so big now.
Well, reading some comments here, like Past His Prime in chat says, I'm getting over 200 FPS at 1440 with a 7900 XTX for less than 900. I can't imagine a 2000 card being worth it. That comment, though, bothers me because he didn't say what game. He didn't say what settings. He didn't say what like the rest of his system is. It's just like, hey, guess what? In Counter-Strike 2, I'm getting 9,000 FPS.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing out a number.
Yeah.
I don't know why the rest of the card wouldn't be worth it. Like, it just doesn't. You need to give more details than that. But I'm reminded of. Let's go all the way back to the Terry Crews build. Remember, that was when 1080 Ti.
SOI was the thing, right?
It was. But in the middle of that is when they launched the Titan Pascal, right? The Titan X Little P.
Big P, and then the
Or
little
Big P.
Yeah.
No, Little P was the faster one. That came out later.
Yeah.
That came
So the-
came out after the 1080 Ti.
Oh, okay.
did.
Okay, right.
And
Because the TIs were always a cut down Titan, basically,
Right.
for the consumers, yeah.
So the Titan Big P, if I remember correctly, was faster than the 1080, but it was slower than the 1080 Ti.
Yeah.
And then the Titan X Little P came out,
And
which
that was the true full die.
which was fastest.
Yeah.
And I remember having this conversation with Nvidia, like, hey, can we swap out these 1080 Ti's that you provided for Terry Crews for the Titan XP?
Oh, I
Little
remember
P.
this branding bit. Yeah.
And they were like, well, no, that's not a gaming card. I'm like, but it says GeForce.
Yeah.
That is your product line. Is the gaming line is GeForce. Oh yeah, but it's not a gaming card. But it's all the same infrastructure. It's all the same architecture. It's just a little more of every bit of it.
Yeah, it's like, does a game run on it? Yes. Then it's a gaming card.
It didn't have a professional BIOS or any of that crap.
Yeah, and even if it does, it'll still run games.
So then, but
we've all seen like Linus's videos on like running games on old Quadras and stuff.
But
like,
then fast
it all
forward,
works.
2000 series, they came out with the RTX Titan, which was just the gold one.
Yeah.
Didn't have a name or anything. It was still a GeForce card, and was still
That was like a 2090 basically.
but was still told not a gaming card. Right? 30 series, they dropped Titan altogether.
Yeah.
And then they came up with the 90. But during that campaign, they were adamant that we test it in a professional environment for like rendering and editing and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and it was
because
weird
still,
because, yeah.
it's not a gaming card.
Yeah.
So I feel like for 40 series, they just went, fuck it, it's a gaming card for
Yeah.
the 90 tier.
Which is ironic because the amount of crap that they gave it, the amount of horsepower that they gave it, makes it a lot more of a prosumer card
Yeah.
than any of the old Titans or 1080 Ti's and like the 90 Ti's and stuff like
It's
that.
almost like in that era between Titan X Pascal and 40 series, there was like an identity crisis with GeForce.
Yeah.
Like with the way that they were throwing those Halo products in there, but calling them not a gaming card.
It's so ironic too because like the 5090 of all cards would feel the most Titan-y in name, considering its core count compared to like the next thing down in the line.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if they had the 5080 and then a Titan, it would make sense that the 5090 would be a Titan. Like the Titan kind of implies that like it's slightly different from a gaming card, and it's like most people are gonna see this and be like, this is not like. This is pointless to buy. You know what I mean? Because it's just so over the top.
You're probably the most appropriate person to ask this question to, considering you definitely have the more like, because you have several systems in your game room.
Mm-hmm.
They have like, you have your sim rig and your gaming system and whatnot, but you have probably the most reasonable builds out of the three of us because you have two systems you're managing, right? So your highest end graphics card right now is what, a 3080?
3080.
Okay.
That's on the sim rig.
Seeing the charts and stuff, including the ones that you can't talk about, you would be, in my opinion, the demographic that 50 series is kind of appealing to, because your 3080 now is going on 5 years old. It'll be 5 years old later this year because it came out in August of 2020.
Yeah.
So do you see yourself wanting to upgrade to a 50 series card?
I will say yes, but I wouldn't be upgrading my 3080. I'd be upgrading my 2080 Ti.
Interesting.
That would make sense.
Because
Yeah.
you do mostly Assetto Corsa?
Yeah, Assetto and iRacing, but
You're not in a multi-monitor setup?
no, it's that single massive ultra wide.
If you were running but that's still technically multi-monitor in terms
He
of
is
its
pushing
pixel
a fair
count.
amount of frames
Yeah.
or pixels. Yeah.
You have basically two 1080p's or 1440s. Sorry,
yeah.
two 1440s.
Yeah. Wait, what resolution is that? Like super ultra wide.
You're on G9, right?
yeah,
It's like 5K by 1080 or something, right? Or some
like
insane.
something by 1440.
Yeah. It's gonna be.
So it's probably 5120 by 1440.
Yeah.
It's probably 5K by 1440, which
Yeah.
is a crap ton of pixels, actually.
Well, and this is where the RAM on his card is going to be his limiting factor
right.
too.
Yeah. The frame buffer.
But the thing is, your simulator's not getting harder to run over time. If it's running at a
Even with iRacing and the rain stuff, it hasn't been like problematic.
Okay. So what games are you playing on your main gaming rig then, outside of the sim rig, make you go, okay, the 2080 Ti's got to go?
The most recent was when I played Jedi Survivor. And
okay.
Over,
That was a
over
pretty heavy game. Yeah.
when you guys were all on break. But
Ubisoft's known to also not have like the
Jedi Survivor's Respawn and
oh,
EA.
that's right.
Yeah.
It's EA.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
that's
it's
right.
it's Respawn. It's the good devs.
I mean, it was. I played through it. There was like solid story, solid gameplay. But there are some points when I was transitioning from indoor to outdoor sections, where like I could actually, with the game felt like it was chugging.
Yeah, I think
There were some
Kobo-
outdoor sections where it
Kobo
does
is
that.
like the hardest planet to run. I think it's like it's got the most freaking
Yeah, like
grass and crap and
like
animals
jumping,
and
going from the garden down to like the
Yeah,
lake bed
yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
That was the most where I noticed I was chugging a lot. I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird. But I played through the rest of the game like ignoring that big jump.
It's
Do you-
it's
do
like
you-
Ray's whole like, I never knew there was so much green in the galaxy. I never knew I could get this low FPS in the galaxy.
Okay, but so would you try and get your hands on like say a 5070 Ti, or would you try and get yourself like maybe a used 4080?
I would probably do the used 4080 route, but that depends on like pricing for like if the 5070 stuff is going to be.
Okay, but you already know what am I hearing? You already know that it's only going to be the advertised price the first time they're sold.
Yeah.
It's just like 9800 X3D.
I mean, you heard me when I was all like, wait, how much is a 4080 right now? And then
Yeah.
like you heard me just on Amazon like, what? Why is it $1,300 still?
Well, let's do this. Well, Nick is still talking this through. I'm gonna go on eBay real quick. Not eBoy, eBay. eBoy.
That's a whole different thing.
If that means something derogatory, I apologize. I have no idea. I'm just okay. RTX 4080 on eBay right now. That is a gigabyte our GeForce RTX 4080 Extreme Water Force with a water block for $700, but it's bids right now, not a buy it. So here's a buy it now Strix for $999. Here's a buy it now 4080 Super for $1,099. It's new, so that's MSRP right there. Not MSRP, but that's its retail price. It's not like marked up. And by marked up, for those that are getting triggered in chat, yes, I know the FE is $999, but the AIB cards are always more. So the tough at $1,099, $100 premium. $800 for a 4080 Super right there.
Did you see the rumored prices?
But that's again bids. 22 or 2 days left. What?
I was gonna say, did you see the rumored prices for the ROG Astral?
2,800. Yeah. 2,800.
I could think of other things to do with 2800.
But the thing is, like, if you're in a position
You
in
like
which
build a whole nother computer? You mean?
Yeah.
No, it's the best investment you ever make, and then you put it in your 10,000. Dude, Jensen's got to update it. It's gonna be a $20,000 computer now that you're putting $2,800 GPU in.
Yeah, see, this is ridiculous here. A brand new 4080 Super tough for $1,500.
Filter by sold though. Like what prices have they sold at?
I can look at sold.
That's what people are saying in chat.
I
I
don't.
don't eBay enough.
I don't know how to do that. Sort by. I didn't know you could look at sold.
Filter.
Somebody asked about your
No.
case
Never mind.
collaboration, Jay.
There is no case collaboration with anybody.
Yeah.
There
There was, and then that company started acting bad, so then no more.
Yeah, so you still are gonna have to spend like $1,000 plus for a 4080, which is really dumb.
It's okay. I'm patient enough to not want a 40 or 50 series right now.
Tell me this is a scam without telling me this is a scam. Asus Tough Gaming Nvidia GeForce RTX 4080 Super gaming graphics card. Buy it now, new for $699. The person's in China and they have zero feedback.
Suspicious.
You want to know how quick you can
How
lose
about-
$700 as quickly as you can click buy now?
Yeah, how about you take your browser to java.gg instead of that specific one?
See, but,
Um,
like going back to the graphics thing though, that it was only that one game that made me started showing like the breaks in the armor. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I should probably consider something.
Honestly,
But-
like when you were joking about it too, and you were like, "Oh, you actually want to upgrade to like a 4090 if you want to try to find a 4090 or something like that." And then I was thinking about it, and I'm just like, there aren't really games though that like make me want to upgrade. Like, I mean, I'm playing, the good old J sentence of like, is the computer spitting up?
Computering.
Yeah, is the computer computering at the FPS that you want it to in the games you're playing? And then that answer is still yes for me in the 4080. It's
Dude.
I literally was like, when I was telling you, I was like, literally, it's just the FOMO of having a 4-digit core count number.
See, here's
This is
a
9728 cores instead of 10,000.
here's a Gigabyte Aero, which to be honest is like their starter tier card. 4080 Aero OC for $999. Doesn't say it says new and sealed for $999. It's actually not bad. That person also has zero feedback. Never mind. I thought that one said it had
Suspicious.
1,000 feedback, but I guess not. Yeah, this is depressing. This is really depressing. Yeah, that one's definitely a scam. Also from China, zero feedback. So this is why gamers are just so pissed right now, because prices and stuff are just I mean, unless you're going to go camp out at Micro Center, which right now, if you wanted a 5090 or a 5080, you'd have to get in line now. They're already lining up now.
Jeez.
Oh, geez.
And it's going to be raining this weekend. We just drive by and be like, ha ha. I mean, do you really want to camp in the rain for a graphics card?
Oh yeah, it is raining this weekend. That sucks.
And then they got to make it all next week. And then we're inevitably going to hear. Actually, we're going to be at Micro Center on launch day.
Oh yeah, you're right.
We're going to be there
totally
at 6 in the morning. We're going to see the chaos.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you what happens every single time there's a major launch. You get these freaking scalper boys showing up at the last second trying to cut the line, and turns into a big O issue, right? Because Micro Center doesn't get involved in the line. They're just like, hey, don't piss, don't poop on our property, don't mess up our property. We'll let you stay here. Otherwise, we'll have to make you all leave.
Yeah.
But you also must self-police yourself. That never works.
Yeah.
Especially when you get the scalpers involved.
I mean, there's always that like critical mass of like crowd size, and then it just gets too rowdy, and then.
Yeah.
Somebody in chat was saying Flight Sim 2024 is the only reason they want to upgrade the GPU. The thing about flight sims and like sim type games like that, they require a lot more balanced of a setup.
Yeah, because there's a lot of CPU.
Yeah, there's still a lot of
internet
CPU.
speed is important now.
And honestly, there's still just a lot of engine bottleneck. Like, I mean, there's tons of times in DCS and Flight Sim in which my GPU is underutilized and my CPU is underutilized. It's just waiting on other things like I/O, RAM. It could be like data streaming. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, there's just it's disappointing a little bit to like put on the VR headset and like only be getting 30 FPS until you get off the ground and get high up enough in flight.
You got to get away from the ground because you need all those textures and the actual details of the 3D buildings and the moving cars and stuff to be small.
And it's like, and a GPU upgrade isn't going to do anything for that because like I look up at my GPU util during those and it's like 20%, 30%. And it's like, so the system isn't waiting on the GPU. So you might not, like the GPU might not be your upgrade path for that game. You got to really open up like Afterburner, PresentMon, and just look at like how your system's reacting, what it really needs. And again, the answer might not be hardware. It might just be the game just doesn't want to give you more frames for whatever reason. And it kind of sucks, especially in a VR headset.
I don't think people have really considered how important the internet connection is in that title too.
Yeah.
Since most of the world is now on the fly.
But even DCS like behaved the same too, where it was just like
DCS wasn't even very well multi-threaded either, though.
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, I'd be like, anytime I was on a carrier, like it was like 20 FPS in the headset, which is like, don't turn your head too fast or you'll throw up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, you're literally bracing like you're actually launching from a carrier, not because of the G-forces, but because you don't want to throw up from the
I
frame.
don't even remember if it was this summer or last summer that I picked up the F-15 Eagle
Uh-huh.
because it was on sale,
yeah.
but I wanted to fly it, and then I realized because they were highlighting, oh, you can use the interior buttons.
Oh, yeah,
And then
yeah.
like I loaded the VR, I'm like, I forgot.
yeah, you can't VR that game.
The resolution's so like small for my headset. It's like I still have to squint to see the button that I'm trying to push.
You don't want to be squinting as a fighter pilot.
Yeah, I know.
You're like, it's like that old person using a computer meme, but it's a fighter pilot. Like he's like, is this radar range? Hold on.
Yeah, with the little reading lamp on top of it.
A random Scott in chat asked, Jay, if you're upgrading your home GPU, will you stay with the 14900K? To be honest, like I don't work on that computer. I don't need the thread count. I live stream, but the thing is I live stream using the GPU NVEC encoder, so it's not even hitting the CPU.
Yeah, the 1590 has 3 of them now, apparently.
When I'm gaming and like live streaming, which has admittedly been months since I've live streamed at home while playing games, but I would look at the CPU usage on my sensor panel, and it would be like 7% CPU, right? And that's in the game. So, and that's overall CPU usage, obviously. But I feel like I could get away with the 9800X3D. But I personally want to wait and see how the 9950X3D feels with its increased frequency.
I mean, at that point too, you'd probably have to upgrade your monitor because your frame rate isn't even high enough on your monitor to take advantage.
Don't forget,
of that
my monitor is a 4K by 1600.
Yeah, but I'm
so
saying
it's an ultra wide, but
if
it's
you're
4K
going to upgrade
wide.
your CPU for higher top end FPS, like what's the point if you can't see it on the monitor? You know,
knowing I can do it. I drive cars that can go way faster than I can take them, but I like knowing they can do it.
Yeah, but you still actually take it. I mean, in Mexico, when we're not on public roads over here,
Or passing schools.
I have
You actually-
passing school
yes.
zones. I have never taken any of my cars to their governor because neither of them have one. They all got removed.
I just remembered.
Y'all got governors.
I'm the governor.
I just remembered getting my Mark III with its four-banger to its like 120 mph covered once. Dude, that thing was like, I was like, either gonna blow up speeding up to it or slowing down from it. But like either way, like something's gonna blow up.
You carry the conversation. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm gonna check something.
What are
you checking?
I'm gonna see if the car I want still for sale. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh. Imagine.
That's a 9800 X3D.
Oh yeah, we gotta like cover our mic now because his mic's gonna pick us up, right?
Whatever.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like what I was saying, like I think his monitors are still just like 120 or 144, and it's like if he gets a 9800 X3D, it's like cool, 240 FPS with multi-frame gen.
Now what?
But you can't see it.
Yeah.
It's like pointless.
He's just gonna bring in our one of the models that do like 360 megahertz.
Well, yeah, wait, don't we have? Oh no, that's Brian that had that weird crazy 480 hertz like monitor or whatever.
Oh yeah, no, but we have one from ViewSonic that's on the VR rig currently. So we might be able to pull that one
it's
down.
like 360.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, we honestly need that for like multi-frame gen testing, because the monitors we have down here are 165 hertz, and like it was cool getting like 165 plus FPS in Cyberpunk, but I was like, I can't tell. 120 to 165.
Something real quick here.
What do you?
I got a briefcase of money. No. What the internet thinks versus what
is
is
this
actual.
slow card? No, I'm kidding.
The slow 4080. I had gifted Phil a 3090 and then broke it and updated him to a 4080. So here's yours to make it fair.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
I was like,
you get the freaking spaceship one.
Spaceship,
That's sick.
That's the
Dang it.
Zotac
Dude,
amp.
I'm actually kind of jealous. Nice.
Yeah, but
Ooh.
yours is water cooled. Sort of. You need to repaste it.
I need to repaste it, and then I found out. So Jay's every time he uses it's like that black rubber automotive looking tubing that he uses for custom water cooling.
I love the industrial look of it, but
yeah,
it's so
every
thick.
time he uses it, he's like, dude, like these fittings are
flex
never
it.
coming off. And I always thought it was a joke until I went to repaste my GPU last night, and no, those fittings are never coming off. I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like, I'm gonna have to bring the computer in or something because I don't know what to do.
I don't remember which case you're running. Is that going to fit in your gaming rig?
Yeah, it's the Corsair
Corsair what?
500D or the Carbide.
5000D?
It's the old one. The really old
Oh,
one.
the Carbide.
Yeah.
It should fit.
Carbide.
Carbide.
Carbide fiber.
That's the one that looks like the spaceship. So speaking of spaceship, I was driving to the gym this morning. That's why I sent you that photo. Because what caught my attention was like,
Oh yeah, of the literal spaceship.
yeah, it was at. I went to the gym a little later today than normal, so I left the house about 6 a.m.
Somebody said nice, but where's ours, Jay?
All 2,391 of them are in the mail.
Yeah.
You get one. You get one.
You get a phone.
This ain't. What do I look like? Oprah?
You all get one. Dude, IKEA. I don't think there's enough space on my island for my car to be restricted by its government. You can't get up to speed.
So
Yeah, that was like my old four-banger.
So I'm driving to the gym this morning, and I'm look like straight out ahead of me in the sky. I just see like.
Oh, did you see like the dot coming down to land?
Well, first of all, I don't know where the boosters landed, but they landed somewhere very far south of Vandenberg because Vandenberg's very far north of us, and I was facing south when I saw the booster coming back, and I saw the trail, and I just saw the.
Maybe it was on a drone ship landing.
Maybe, but I saw the little the rocket.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is burning? I'm like, my first thought was. That's a very slow moving like shooting star.
Yeah.
Right? That was my first thought, or asteroid or whatever. And
And then
I'm
you're
like,
like, is it
and that
slowing
should,
down?
And that should be streaking,
Yeah.
not going straight down. I'm like, that was weird. And then I looked up and I saw the like the plume behind the rocket just getting like, you want to know what that shit looks like going across the horizon? That is insanely fast.
the upper stage,
Yes.
like the jellyfish looking plume, right?
So
yeah,
it
yeah,
had like
yeah.
it plumed way back there, but I saw it going across the sky.
Yeah.
And it probably was 15 to 20 seconds from being right here over like LA to where it was so far south I couldn't see it anymore.
Yep.
I was like, how fast is that thing moving?
That
I've
actually
seen
makes
how
sense
fast
because
it moves, but
they launch a lot of polar orbits from the West Coast.
yeah.
So East Coast is more like equatorial.
And the crazy thing is like where I saw the boosters coming down to land
Yeah.
versus where the plume in the sky was shows you how far they were still moving across the sky before they re-entered.
Yeah. The boosters, it's like, you probably saw the plume. Like the plume usually appears like if the upper
They
stage is
landed
like
on
here.
a drone ship, yeah.
Okay. and then like a booster return to launch site is like, wee.
Can somebody tell me?
It's like a little tiny hop that.
Can somebody tell me where the drone ship was? Because I'll be able to now know exactly how far away I was seeing it.
You should be able to track them. I know if you.
I was driving.
No, I know, but I'm saying like like you can do flight tracker, but like they have that for ships and stuff too. If you just look up whatever their drone ship name is, I think the one on this side might be. Of course, I still love you or whatever.
Like on my maritime app.
Yeah, you could
But
probably probably look up that ship and then just see where it was.
It kind of sucks because if I look now, obviously it's not gonna be there anymore.
Yeah.
But I can't look at this backtrack.
But yeah, if you look at the backtrack, it'll be very obvious because it'll just be like, and it just waits in the ocean for the.
I want to know where that drone ship was, though. I assume it was probably way
In
south.
the ocean.
Give me that back.
He gives you a 40-60 instead.
Was I tempted to race it? Do you have any,
Jay
look,
would
3, 2, 1, go.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Freaking second stage of a Falcon 9. 3, 2, 1, go.
Why are you racing it? We're not racing.
He
Yeah,
blinked.
Oh my god,
He blinked.
that'd be funny.
Yeah, it was absolutely insane. And the crazy part was the fact that how fast it was optically moving, and it was moving away from me.
Mhm.
That's the thing.
That was how like I was able to catch a Vandenberg launch from my front porch, and that was the most obvious way to tell that it wasn't an airplane because there's a point at which it just starts moving very obviously faster than any other airplane.
See, it just looks like Halley's Comet.
Yeah.
But the crazy part was, like I said, I way like over here was where the was in the sky. So I'm like, dude.
Yeah, the is probably the stage set between the
Yeah.
booster and then the second stage.
But it
going
was so far away from there to where I saw the rocket coming down.
Yeah.
Like the booster coming down. So it was nuts.
So they'll do a drone ship landing in the ocean for the booster if the booster needs more throw on the on whatever the target orbit is for the thing. And if they need the most throw, then they'll just expend the booster.
Greg
They won't
says
even-
Falcon 9 has me beat before it even left the tower. Before it even cleared the tower, it's moving faster. Oh man.
Dude, it was like the Blue Origin New Glenn launch was actually the opposite of that. It has a very low thrust to weight ratio and it's a very big rocket. Like it's freaking like Starship size,
Yeah.
right? And like watching that thing lift off the pad is like, is it going? Yeah.
It's like some of my some of my Kerbal launches.
Yeah, exactly.
As
There's
long
all
as we
this
get some
fire,
momentum,
and
we'll
it's just
finally
like-
start moving.
You can like watch and they have them in freedom units too. It's like, so I was like, oh, cool. We can literally see the 0 to 60 time. It was like 20 seconds
Wow.
to 60.
So it's like a freight train starting
yeah.
uphill.
Oh yeah. It was like, and I'm like, dude, just don't be like one of those Russian ones where it just falls back down on the pad. So that was that one day. Remember when we were joking about taping the two rockets together because New Glenn made it to orbit, but its booster crashed on landing, and then
yeah.
and then SpaceX's
They inverted
booster
it,
got
yeah.
caught, and then the Starship just freaking gave the what was it, the Bahamas an
Dang.
awesome fireworks show.
No one's saying where the drone ship was in the ocean. I have to assume that was probably out by San Diego somewhere.
Probably.
Because it was just a little like flame dot coming down. And it was coming down fast too. I was like, oh, that shows you how much it actually has to decelerate, right?
It must have been a really polar orbit then for the. I guess it makes sense for some Starlink satellites or
Yeah.
whatever.
Because they have to skim across the sky to, right? Aren't they like kind of shitting them out as they go?
Yeah.
So
My
I
favorite,
mean, literally Falcon 9 just shitting satellites, router satellites.
dude, the early ones were so bad. Like astronomers were getting so pissed because they were so reflective.
Oh.
You would like try to take a picture of like some stars, and then you just get like a shit train of 13 like bright lights going through your image, and it's like, thanks Elon. Like
I
what
just
the hell?
imagine fighter jets deploying the flares.
Someone said the drone ship's typically off the coast of Baja.
Yeah. Okay, that makes
So
sense.
I was,
Yeah.
dang, okay. I
Must
now
have been
know
a really
exactly which
clear
direction
morning.
Baja is, but
I
it
guess
was
the
it
wind.
was a very
I
clear
guess
morning.
the wind helped because
It was a
we've
very
been
clear
getting.
morning. There was zero moisture in the air today, so there was
Yeah.
no obstruction at
Oh.
all. It's also why the separation looks so nice
Mhm.
up there. And then by the time I got out of the gym, the separation jellyfish had turned into like a sperm. It was like all twirly and
Yeah,
crap.
and then you get all the next door posters like, oh my god, aliens!
It's the Chinese.
Yeah.
That's usually what we see. It's
Russia.
Oh, well,
It's
when
a
I, just
you're,
remember- I recently replayed LA Noire, and like there's you know when the factory explodes or whatever, and then your partner is just like, you think it's the Reds? And bro, it was a factory explosion. Chill. It's not a nuke.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so that was interesting to wake up to today. I was kind of surprised I can see it considering the news I got about my eyes, but whatever.
Yeah.
Apparently I'm going blind, but we'll find out the level of blindness.
I mean,
here
you
pretty
own a
soon, I guess.
telescope, right? You know honestly, the biggest obstacle to seeing any sort of
Is our
space stuff is
atmosphere.
just clouds.
Well, for me, it was like if there's any sort of moisture in the atmosphere, like it makes everything look super fuzzy and like you're looking at it through heat rise on the ground. So when I was trying to look at Venus the other night, Venus had a little halo around it. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be really hard to see. And I looked through it and I was like, yeah, it was just a smudgy, like the planet, even though I could tell it was a crescent, was just like.
And
all
Venus
weird.
itself is already not really. There's not that many features on it, like on the planet.
Yeah.
It's very like just bland.
Yeah, but
No
then
offense
when
to
I looked at
Venus.
Jupiter, I was like, holy crap! I can actually see the lines on it. It was nuts. And I had put my 2x magnifier on my telescope finally, and my 38 millimeter lens,
Nice.
of optic. So I made it really big.
It's funny how like like when you get a telescope, you just kind of go through the whole like motions of like, oh, this is why Galileo couldn't stop freaking looking at this crap.
Yeah.
It's so big and obvious, and like you can learn so much about it.
It's just funny though because obviously the telescopes. For those that are wondering, I'm just using like a Celestron Starlink or Star Trek 8 SE. So it's 8-inch lens. I want to say it was like $2,200 for the whole kit.
They gotta make a tracker that you can punch in a rocket launch in.
Oh, I know.
And it just tracks it. That'd be
It's all
sick.
it's like so fast. But anyway, it's crazy to me how the light sensitive mirrors and glass works, because you look up at the sky and you're like, dang, Jupiter's really bright, and then you look through the telescope, you're like, I can see 6 moons through the telescope, but not with my eyes, right? Granted, they're so small, but yeah, it was I wish I have the attachment for my iPhone, but the problem is trying to get the iPhone to focus and adjust to try and capture the faint
because it's a lens
details.
system shooting through a lens system, so
Right.
like. Especially because like modern phones always try to use like the LiDAR sensor and everything for autofocus, so it's like trying to focus on behind the telescope, but like really it's trying to focus millions.
But I don't
of
know
miles
of
away.
a camera I can use to attach to the I guess they make DSLR attachments, right? Because I need to be able to focus that myself and adjust the stop.
Yeah, that'd be sick if you could just permanently slap the A7 on there, because that with the light sensitivity that's gonna be nuts.
Well, it doesn't do anything else for us.
Yeah.
I mean, we literally use it for nothing. Favorite planet? Earth.
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 Earth. What's that from? I can't remember.
Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, that's right. Earth.
Earth. But
Citizens of Earth.
when you went outside, Phil and I were talking about how I put the 360 megahertz monitor on
Megahertz.
Wow.
on the VR.
360 hertz.
Yeah, 360 hertz. Sorry.
I was
The 24-inch though.
Yeah.
It's so tiny.
well, I was joking that like we kind of need a high refresh rate monitor for multi-frame gen testing, because we can't say we've seen 300 FPS until we've seen 300 FPS, even though it probably doesn't really feel that different.
I'm still impressed though with how good monitor tech is, even when you go well above its refresh rate, and how good it is at not tearing. Like they're still tearing, but like back in the day, man, you go back and look at some of my early YouTube videos. When I had a 60 hertz panel and I was playing Battlefield 3 at like 120 hertz, it was just like, it was so split. It was bad. Like if I wiggled the mouse, you could see like all the.
It's just because you're seeing the frames for so much less time now, because like 240 hertz is you're seeing the frame for a quarter of the time you would have on a 60 hertz monitor.
Yeah, so I guess you don't have to buy a card now.
Yeah.
I just look at eBay. I'm like, oh.
I guess now I have to buy a case to show off the card.
Oh, that's right. It doesn't really have much of a side panel on it, huh? Is there a side panel at all, or is it just a vent?
No, it's like a plastic. It's an acrylic side panel.
Yeah.
Dude,
That's
YouTube,
how old it is.
We have a lot of cases out there.
This YouTube channel, JayzTwoCents, just did a case review on this Fantex case that looks pretty sick.
Yeah.
I kind of like what Dimitri did from Harbor Canucks, though. He had a white one and a black one, and the inside is aluminum, and he took the silver from the white and put it on the black, and he put the black on
that's
the.
why his looks so like.
Yeah,
His
he
looks like
swapped 'em.
freaking like
It was pretty neat looking.
Not gonna lie, I've been eyeing the Sub O1s though.
yeah.
Like the one
That'll
up
look
there.
sick too on the front of it.
Yeah.
That
Oh.
GPU.
I guess if space is important because it's a narrower chassis. But you're gonna have to get a different cooler and stuff for it.
Yeah,
Because what cooler are you running on your main rig?
it's some 360. I forgot the brand already. Pretty sure it was like a Corsair.
And you guys wonder why
Oh,
he
no.
doesn't participate in these conversations very much.
Sorry, it was an NZXT because it has the dual temperature gauge on it. I remember. So
Nick is like the most gamer out of all of us in that he literally
just wants
plays
it to
the
play
games the most. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like the only
I play PC Building Simulator in real life.
Yeah, like the only consideration Nick gives to hardware is like as he's building it, and then once it's built and then the games are playing, he's like, I don't care what I have. I don't know what I have anymore.
You know what's crazy though is like I'm getting the itch once again to like.
I remember I asked him like what GPU was in his. Sorry to cut you off. What GPU was in his work computer because it was that one with the weird angle GPU. And I
Yeah.
forgot what Radeon we'd put in there. And
It's
he was
like
like,
That's a
79?
it's a 6800 XT.
well, you were just like you just
Yeah.
looked at it. You were like, Radeon. I just remember dying laughing about this. 'Cause
Yeah,
I was
that
like,
was-
I was like, I mean, yeah, I guess.
That build was built to showcase the collaborative effort between EK Water Blocks and AMD when they launched RDNA 2.
So that was 6950 XT.
No, he's 6800 XT is what
Oh,
his is.
6800.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Still a freaking solid card too.
and the reason why you haven't gotten like an easy upgrade for your work system is because it's all fully water cooled.
yeah.
Whereas because Phil's system has to be serviceable quickly, he just has air cooled cards.
All
so-
air-cooled. Yeah.
But on the priority list too, we kind of need a Phil computer versus a Nick computer.
I was actually wondering like what your thoughts are if we were to build another editing rig, but it was one of the Threadrippers and a 5090. Like, how much do you like being on the 1400K versus having like the raw horsepower of like the Threadripper? Or are you a little concerned about taking on the AMD nuances again? Because every time it seemed to really like screw you at the worst times.
It wasn't really. I don't know if it was more AMD nuances and or more like
The AMD versus Adobe
as soon
thing.
as we built it, like Intel would come out with something that was like faster core clock, and then that ended up being more relevant to editing because core count isn't really relevant to editing that much. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't. There's not much multi-threading in Premiere, but so like a Threadripper. I mean, it would be cool. Like,
but
just
think about
bragging
the
rights.
amount of RAM you can get on that system.
I know, right?
I would.
But I already have 128 gigs. So
Are you on 128 on that? Oh, I didn't realize we put you at 128.
Yeah.
But you can't run them at XMP, huh?
no, I don't think so.
Hmm.
But still, like, yeah, I mean, it would just be bragging rights. It's not like it affects the workflow that much. It's like
Well,
I
that was
don't
a
even-
short-lived idea then. Like we have those Threadrippers, and I don't know what to do with them.
I know.
Like they're just
build one for bragging rights.
yeah,
like it doesn't even help in like
because the core
3D
clock,
Mark or
the
any of
clock
that stuff.
speed's like too slow.
well, they're faster. They hit 5 gigahertz.
yeah,
They came up quite a bit. Remember back in the day, they were like 3.8.
yeah. Oh god,
You
yeah.
know, but they're hitting 5 gigs now all core, which is nuts. But it's also like a 360 watt socket before overclocking, so or 300 watts, something big like that. Although that sounded like a lot until the numbers with Intel's desktop CPUs. But I think when we overclocked it, remember the water was like 600 watts on that socket or something.
yeah.
It was crazy.
Like the Threadrippers are just fun as like. It's fun in like a 5090 way of fun of like it's awesome to mess around with hardware that is at the top of its game. Like it's just like that. I think that's been this launch cycle. The 5090 has actually been so interesting to me just because of that fact. Like the whole cooler design, all that sort of stuff. I've been eating all that up and like watching all the videos on it and like Steve's teardown and wow, that looks awkward, Nick.
You good over there?
I moved my face away from the mic to drink.
It just looked weird because he also took his face off camera, so all you see was him leaning.
And
and
then-
it
yeah, he
all
was
weird.
like-
And I knocked the mic over like upside down, but it's back.
That's not upside down.
It was like this.
Oh,
Yeah,
I looked over and it was already right side up.
Rainbow Siege players always leading.
But yeah, going back to my home rig though, I what I started to say is I'm getting this wild hair of wanting to just downsize the case again. Like it was fun to bring Skunkworks back, and I feel like I would kind of leave that build together as it sits now and put it with some of the other showpieces.
Mhm.
But
And finally let it actually be a showpiece.
yeah, and leave the 4090 in there with the Optimum block and all that sort of stuff. But I kind of want to build something that's more like kind of dense but really well thought out.
I think we need like a lower TV stand.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Or
I
we can
really
make-
should have put that TV higher.
Or we could just make like a now that the front room doesn't have the sim rig in it anymore, like just a showroom, like a cigar lounge kind of deal.
So I can just go in there and be like, look at my computers.
Yeah.
Right?
This one's Betty. You know why we call her Betty? Just like going through all your trophies.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what case I would use, though, honestly.
The Suppo one looks pretty nice. Though.
No. The Suppo one would be terrible for open loop.
It still cracks me up that the mushroom build is faster than Skunkworks
Yeah.
in like both ways.
No, not in CPU.
Oh,
I have
wait.
a 14900K that's
Oh,
overclocked.
yeah, you're right.
I
But
mean,
you could put a 14900K in there.
I could.
It
But-
would push that cooler.
But
to its
spoiler
limit,
alert,
though.
that card was very warm in there. It was very warm in
It
that.
was within spec.
Yeah, once you went in and really ramped up the fans.
Well, I didn't actually have to do it manually. The auto fans kind of kept it at 80. And then everyone's gonna be like, "Oh my god, 80 degrees! The hotspot." Fun fact: we can't even tell
There
what
is
the
no-
hotspot is
there is no
anymore because they
hotspot.
got rid of the.
Yeah, there
stupid-
actually is no hotspot sensor on it. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe that was by design. I don't know. You know, it runs so much cooler though than I think we all expected, to be
Yeah.
honest.
No, that cooler, that FE cooler design is a work of art and like just engineering marvel for sure. Like that thing is so freaking cool.
I won't do an FE though, water cooled build. I don't think I'll go through all that teardown.
I don't even think people are gonna make water blocks for the FE.
I don't know.
The triple PCB thingy with the flex cables seems so sketchy.
It is. I kind of skimmed through Steve's teardown today. I haven't watched it in detail yet, but I'm curious.
Although you could get freaking creative and make some cool looking water blocks if like you had like the water circulating around the edges where the flow through would be on an FE. You know what I mean? And then going
Yeah.
through the middle or some crazy stuff or do some other crazy stuff. Otherwise, it's just gonna be a really tiny square of a block.
Which, let's face it, I think a lot of people in chat that are into open loop water cooling with me would agree. If you take a giant card like the Strix or the Astral or the OC from like Gigabyte or the Aorus and all that, and then you create a final product that's like half the size, you're like, oh. Because let's face it, we know the physical size of the card doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We know right now that the 5090, which is only a little bigger than my phone in surface area, is faster than anything out today. But damned if the E-Peen doesn't make you go, but I want it to be big.
Yeah.
You know? Because here's the thing, even the custom cards, like their PCBs are not that long. Like if you look at the roundup of all the custom boards that are out there,
Yeah.
they're not that long.
I think honestly, like the most visually impressive my computer looked was when it had the air-cooled 3090 in there.
Because it filled it out.
Yeah, it was literally like, this is the maximum GPU
I am speaking-
it will fit.
I am speaking
Yeah.
from experience because Skunkworks is a giant dual loop system
Yeah, and you
with
have
a
to
280 rad and a 560 rad in the bottom and a 480 rad at the top. And I took my 4090 Strix and took the cooler off and put on the optimum block, which made it half the length.
and you can only have one GPU nowadays. Like back in the day, it was a lot easier to fill out the inside of the
Well,
case.
I could
with, like,
have
4
two if I
GPUs.
was a developer or someone using it. I could have two. There would be a
And technically,
use for
there's no
that.
limit. You can have 4 if you want.
No, there is a limit because most of the motherboards, unless you buy a workstation board, don't have but one 16x slot.
Oh, right.
So most of the workstation boards can give you those, but
4 5090s, and then it's just like 3 of them are running at X4.
yeah. So content we have coming up though, for those that are wondering, the Meshroom D airflow / temperature testing in a small form factor. We're going to be testing Gen 4 versus Gen 5 PCIe for obviously performance loss because it is a true Gen 5 16x card.
First time a GPU's actually been like,
Yeah.
Gen 5 certified.
And testing various riser cables to see what does and doesn't work because we were having a problem, as I said, with our riser, specifically the Elmore Labs measurement tool.
Right.
But I want to know now, like, what risers maybe do and don't work. Because I saw some discussion about that, and someone was saying that it is probably related to the fact that there's a riser cable within the card as well. So it goes from like Gen 4 to Gen 5, et cetera. But that shouldn't matter. Whether it's a cable or soldered traces, the pinout should be the pinout.
Yeah.
But it's like, for instance, our board. And so the card itself, I know Asus cards, the Astral card specifically, I don't know if they all do, Asus told me today that their card has onboard switching. It onboard detects the gen of the slot that it's in, and it onboard switches its gen bandwidth on card.
Isn't that just called backwards compatibility?
There's something specific taking place on the card.
Huh.
I don't have the review guide or the nuances or the card, but I want to learn more about that because Steve and I did confer with Steve about whether or not his Elmore Labs and riser cables were doing the same thing with his 5090. It did. So it wasn't just an isolated instance with us. He verified he's experiencing it too. So I really want to know now, are we going to start seeing some potential backwards compatibility issues with riser cables that maybe are included with cases? Or like, for instance, like we were talking about today, the Height Y70, you have to use their riser cable because it's a low profile one.
Right.
So are we going to start running into people's systems? Because what I was experiencing when the riser cable and card were not operating correctly together was random system hangs, choppy sound, because I was running, even though it's hooked up to the monitor, it's using the monitor cable, the GPU for the sound. I was dealing with, anytime I put it, like, it would launch Furmark, it would run for about 3 seconds and crash. I was dealing with artifacts on the desktop. So I did try it with both the riser card, and when I say riser card, I mean the power meter tool, because I had that hooked up directly and it was doing the same thing. I'm like, that's weird. So I then took a cable mod Gen 4 riser cable and took off the power meter and was getting the same behavior. So that's why I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, especially because with the whole SFF push of like all of these new cards being 2-slot, that's going to be more cases in which it's more likely to have a riser. You know what I mean? Like those NZXT H1 style tower cases all have riser cables. Like my old Fantex Evolve Shift had a riser cable because it was on the like any SFF toaster style or tower style, you know, is gonna have a riser cable involved, and then that would suck if that suddenly there's big compatibility issues.
Now, one thing I didn't try, which Steve didn't mention he tried either though, is going into the motherboard and setting the gen to Gen 4 because it should auto detect.
Yeah,
but there could be an issue of it saying, hey, it's a Gen 5 device, but obviously a Gen 4 riser cable would be the limiting factor. Yeah. But I still would really like to just measure the power at the socket as well.
Or it could just be like false positiving itself and being like, oh yeah, no, this is all Gen 5 hardware. And then it's pushing Gen 5 signaling through older, crappier cables.
Yeah. So that's something I'm planning on testing while I'm continuing testing for products that are soon to be released. I'm so over testing right now. Like I have like 60 hours. I have like 60 hours of testing for that 15090 review. Although I think the feedback we're getting is positive. Yeah. People found it useful. There was a typo in the chart. It said RTSX 4080. I don't know how that happened, but it's fixed now for future charts. But you know, the fact that we showed, you know, true power draw, frequency over time, temperature. I actually followed an outline that I wrote. That way I would stop relying on memory for things. And I still forgot to talk about a couple things I wanted to, and it was still a 32-minute video.
That's funny.
But the like ratio on that video is actually very, very positive. It's over 98.5% like.
Nice.
Channel average is 98.1 for those that are wondering. But yeah, so I felt like it was worth it.
Oh, somebody said Hardware Connects already did a riser test, so we could check that out and see what.
I mean, I'll check it out to see what their findings were.
Yeah.
After I do my own testing, because I try not to watch other people's stuff.
So you're more agnostic to it.
Yeah. Well, that way I'm not influenced by maybe something they experienced. Yeah. Because I try to, I kind of go content consumption dark during review cycles like this.
Makes sense. Like don't like taint your own opinion with others first. Yeah.
No, a riser cable thing is all fact. It's not really opinion, but yeah, I'm just curious as to what the performance loss is. I'm assuming it's probably going to be, in some instances, maybe up to 5%, to be honest. Because Gen 4 16X versus because I thought, honestly, I expected to go Gen 5 8X, not Gen 5 16X, which is what it's doing, even with our M.2 slot in there. Now, that's one of the reasons why I'm happy that I'm testing on X870E board.
All the PCI lanes.
Because I have the PCIe lanes to allow us to get M.2 Gen 5 by 4, as well as a Gen 5 by 16 for the slot. So that's other stuff we didn't even talk about in that video, because we could have talked for an hour and a half about things that you need to consider with that card.
Yeah.
Because if you're running an older system, one, you're going to be running a Gen 4. You're going to be running at Gen 4 speeds. You could lose some performance, but that's another topic too, is like once you put in more than one M.2, they'll drop down, for older boards. You could lose that Gen 5 speed entirely just by putting, a Gen 4 by 16 card.
Yeah,
There's a lot of different things.
It's like my 40 or 4090 on my edit rig right now.
It's at Gen 4 by 8? Or
it's Gen 4, by 8.
Yeah.
Because I have freaking 5 NVMEs in there.
Yeah.
Like 4 or 5 NVMEs. But yeah. The PCI lanes, we were not spoiled by PCI lanes up until like Core Ultra and the modern Ryzen stuff.
That's about the only real platform benefit to going with something like Core Ultra or X870E is more native Gen 5 lanes.
Yeah, you could probably slap that 5090 into the Falcon system with the Insane RAID 0 and still be running a Gen 5 16X.
Yeah. Well, what kind of questions you got over there, Nick, from our Discord?
Oh, boy.
Oh, wait, I forgot to do the... This is the FTFA section of the show. It's from the freaking... It should be FTFD, from the freaking Discord.
Oh, yeah, we should. We could probably change that. Yeah, okay.
Every question, I'm going to do it. All right, Nick, what's question number one?
I got to preface this with you guys really got to read the rules.
Oh, are they posting like a book?
Well, not even that. It's like...
Can you look at this parts list for me, Jay?
Yeah, it's like stuff like that. Like... Let's ignore the tech. Like I've just been deleting like the tech questions. Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go. I've just been deleting the tech questions, but yeah. Read the rules.
Want tech questions on a tech show. What the hell's wrong with these people?
Well, I said like try to keep it fun, versus something we kind of do, because there's one guy. This is going to be more of a rant from me, but he's all like, I like to understand if there's any way of making RTFM more regular, and it's literally the only thing I consume regularly from the channel, and I really like this personality-based half tech, half whatever banner with a less serious note. And like my first knee-jerk reaction was like, yo dude, this is like the special features of a DVD. If you get it, you get it. Like it's...
I mean we aim for weekly.
Yeah,
it's just obviously during the holidays we go on a little hiatus, and then the first part of this month has literally just been
benching.
Yeah. I have hardly been in the last 2 weeks. I think I've been to my office an hour total. My office has been the test bench for the last 2 weeks, and it will continue to be that way for the next 2 weeks, because the next launch cycle of cards, and then we know the 5070 stuff is coming out soon. We know AMD stuff is coming out soon, so it's gonna be like nonstop.
I mean, it's always like that for GPU launches, at least with us.
I don't mind it though, because I'm actually having a lot of fun with this new whole methodology that
the charts filling out themselves.
That's just a bonus, but they also fill out themselves wrong when you copy paste names of cards and you accidentally copy RTSX 4080.
But like the amount of hype I heard, like whenever you were in the office upstairs, I just heard that woo, because like
it's done.
The chart just populates, and it's like the best part, like the highlight.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I know he's making good progress, and it's not like the oh no, something.
You've also heard a lot of damn it, God, damn it, because I would I did something wrong, or I didn't follow the outline which I've worked very hard to create, and I'll just be like working on autopilot, but then I'll forget like this one title likes to change this one setting, and I'm like, damn it, I gotta go back and do that one again, and then just.
But there's a lot less of that compared to like.
There is a lot less of that because the charts auto populate now, and I'm filling in the data. I can see when something is like, why is the 4080 beating the 5090? Yeah. Oh, because I completely effed this up, and I can.
Jay, it's been day and night, because even back when you had me doing the 4000 and 3000 series, it's like every other chart is like, Nick, did you do this? I'm like, I don't remember, and then we had to go back. Like, there's a whole nother extra step that happened because. Yeah. So yeah.
Not only is everything, like I said, going to be completely outlined. I'm looking at software to have basically you follow it in the software, and you can actually check off the steps as you go. I'm also looking at automating the actual free movement in the games, because remember, half our titles now are games that are being benchmarked in the game, obviously, and we have to load a very specific save and follow a very specific path, and it has to be as consistent as possible back and forth. And
you have to make sure the test bench is fed in Avatar.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have to actually. It's just. It bothers me seeing the stamina bar flashing at me. you know, because I was like, I
Well,
don't.
and also you can't die during a Metrock run because then that just invalidates.
Well, you don't die.
Yeah.
It's just if you get attacked, you don't regen health.
Oh, that's what hunger does.
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Avatar.
But anyway, having that be consistent as possible back to back means that our data is that much more accurate. If we're talking like 0.5% of variance, that's still 0.5% we can have control over if I'm automating those runs.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting to even start experimenting with the automation until after this review cycle, because right now it wouldn't save me time, it would cost me time. So that's all I'm waiting for. But I'm excited to start playing around with that sort of stuff.
But yeah. Oh, someone. There we go.
There you go. Nice.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Ooh.
It depends on the thing.
Yeah.
Milkshakes.
Vanilla.
Chocolate.
Dang.
But it's weird because ice cream, I
How
would say
about a
I would say
swirl?
opposite.
A swirl. Oh, like Neapolitan.
How about white chocolate or milk chocolate?
I like white chocolate.
Yeah, for chocolate.
yeah, you do.
Oh my god. next question.
I'm gonna hide in the corner considering all of my exes are white.
Did you say white chocolate?
Yeah.
We're all three white chocolate?
Yeah.
White chocolate gang.
White chocolate for chocolate. If not,
for
then like
chocolate.
hazelnut, then yeah.
Ooh,
like
hazelnut.
milk
Yeah.
chocolate is like the most like.
Because here's the thing, like
normal.
for me, hazelnut, like legit Swiss chocolate hazelnut
Yeah,
or German hazelnut.
dude, I'll eat
All
a
day.
whole jar of Nutella. Like hazelnut's so
I don't play
good.
around.
Yeah.
You can-
I always sound like minions. You're like, oh, hazelnut.
Hazelnut.
See, it's weird though because like chocolate milkshake, but then for me, ice cream, like a good vanilla is like my favorite ice cream. Which is
I
weird.
like vanilla ice cream if I'm going to accessorize it with something.
Mm,
Whether it be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't know,
Okay, yeah.
chocolate
Right.
topping or magic shell
Yeah.
or
It's a good base.
what I actually like, and I don't eat any of this anymore because I can't because I'm so lactose intolerant. But like when I would and did eat ice cream, I actually liked, and this is the most fattening thing ever, but I think I'm preaching to the proper choir here in
Yeah,
chat.
yeah. And us.
Vanilla ice cream with the butterscotch and hot fudge, or the hot fudge magic shell.
Magic shell? Oh,
together.
yeah.
I haven't had magic.
My
shell
mom would
before.
always get mad. 'cause
You
she
haven't
would-
had magic shell? Have you ever been to Dairy Queen?
Yeah.
You know they dip the thing. That's magic shell.
Yeah.
Oh.
You can just
The-
buy it.
it's-
You
it
can
just hardens. Yeah, it's by Smuckers.
Oh,
You
okay.
can get it at the grocery store.
You can buy it, and then you can also be angry like my mom because like it would last maybe 2 days.
Yeah, because you're like, here's
Yeah.
my ice cream and here's my
Yeah.
magic shell. You're like chiseling it off the bowl
I
to
know.
eat it.
You're basically just making your own chocolate bar because it's freezing the magic shell.
Yep.
Yo,
Dude, I took it serious. Like I would like, you know how like when it comes to like cocktails in a shaker, there's like a very specific like shaker motion you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was very specific on the way. I'm not going to demonstrate this because it's going to look bad on camera. I would shake the bottle a very certain way, then put it in the microwave for like 10 seconds to soften it up
Oh my
more.
God.
Then shake it more, and then I had a very specific like crisscrossy pattern, and then a perimeter squirt
Dude.
around the bowl.
that just sounds like my 3D printer going backwards.
Yeah.
That's how I got to 500 pounds, if you're wondering. So.
You're like, it's like the, you're like manually making a vignetta.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, the ice cream was the accessory
Yeah.
to the magic shell, okay? I'm just saying.
Vignetta was also like the most like weirdly, like they advertised it so upscale, even though it's just basically just ice cream lasagna.
Arturo in chat, his sister is a monster. He said, my sister once stored the bottle in the fridge, the magic shell,
Oh.
because it's temperature reactive.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's just a brick.
Yeah, so you have to microwave it at that point.
That's funny.
Dang.
Okay. I was like, go.
Yeah.
Nick forgot.
Yeah, I
Dead air.
forgot.
Nick,
My thing turned out. Hold on.
push the reset button.
What's the longest you ever took to do a personal PC project?
I don't know how to answer that question, honestly. Probably the most recent Skunkworks, only because I was building it separate from a system I already had together. So
Because you can't have downtime.
my personal rigs in the past have always been like, oh, I need to get it done within 2 or 3 days because I'm building this out of parts I'm taking out of the system. But the most recent iteration of Skunkworks was built while I still had Nebula together.
Oh,
Or no,
right.
Black Ice. Black
Yeah.
Ice was together. Nothing got reused from that system except for the main drive.
Yeah.
But I
It's
mean,
like-
I
it's
hardly
like-
use my system at home right now anyway, so I could totally get away with. But I'll be building a new. If I build a new system for myself, it'll be separate from Skunkworks because, like I said, I would love Skunkworks to stay together as a
it is
showpiece.
now. Yeah. The final.
But it has a 4090 in it though. That's very useful. You know what I mean? It's like it could totally live on somewhere else. But okay,
The desk.
the desk. It could live on the desk. Is that what you're saying?
Just
The desk build.
just
Oh.
put a 5090.
No, but
Just
if
put
I
a-
take the parts out of it, Nick,
Oh,
it's
oh,
not
right.
living on.
just put
doesn't
the
have to live.
5090 in my edit rig, and then you can take the 4090 out of there.
No, no.
Here's what we'll do, dude. We'll plan the highest. I'll 3D print. Yeah. We'll make it look like it's still together.
You got to 3D print 3 Jensen jackets so that we all blend into
That's
NVIDIA
it. I'm
HP.
installing a freaking turret in the ceiling that when the alarm is armed, it's gonna. But it's not
It
gonna
only
shoot.
shoots for 90 tier
It's not
cards.
gonna shoot bullets. It's just gonna shoot like numbing darts. So you just become a blob on the ground.
No, it's just shoot invoices. The moment you touch the card, it's like, all right, cool, $2,000.
Okay, here's a good one.
Do you take a firm?
I take
Can I do
I take a firm wad of cash.
Can I do Sezzle Pay in 4 for this freaking $2,000 GPU?
What factories would you like to go and see? Tech or non-tech?
Oh, non-tech.
Well, no. Or like any factory. I think like I should rephrase
Mike
it.
Vu in chat wants to know when JTC track day is. Ironically, the discussion that just took place today at our closed door meeting, right?
Yeah.
You could fill him in later.
I'll actually get to go see him today.
Oh, yeah.
We're buying him a track
You guys
car.
going on a date?
He's getting a track car.
What? What car?
Honda Civic.
That's not a track car.
EK9?
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, like
Ooh.
I've had look.
It's
I've
a
had
EK9.
some hatches ride the ass of the Z01. Okay,
Yeah.
he sent me pics. It's like a legit Civic Type R swap.
and it's gonna weigh like nothing.
Yeah. So
All he's doing is, oh,
it's already swapped.
yeah.
Man, owning his own shop's going right to his head.
No, it's sick. I'm excited to help him get it, and I'm excited to see him on track. 'Cause
Hector's running spoon engines, dude.
we could finally track
Free
talk
spoon
each other
engines.
while
If I
being at
wanted
the
to do a
track.
custom case paint job, would he paint it?
Oh, he'd probably just like get them to pay for the materials.
No shit. But I mean, would he do it?
We could ask. Hey, Mike, would you do it? He's in chat. We can
I'm
just
not
ask.
actually asking. I'm just letting the seed plant in his brain.
Yeah.
After he gets through all them Toyota warranty jobs,
Inception. I mean,
it has to be Mike's idea
yeah.
for it to root. You know.
Then the only color you're getting is championship white.
Oh, that's because that's the ones that are getting repainted, huh?
I know, that'd still be
No.
a sick PC case. Though. Chap white.
See, Phil gets it.
But that's boring though.
You're boring.
I could get a white case already.
All
right.
right. But okay, so I could rephrase the factory question, like to, if you were to make your own how it's made episode of something you're interested in, what would you go make it of?
HRE wheels.
That's fair.
Yeah, because I've been there already. I got to take a tour when they did their open house. Just typically they'll piggyback on with some other shows. Like Big Euro's been there, South OC Cars and Coffee's gone there. But when they do their open house and let you in to like see like here's the monoblock that turns into the forged barrel, and our multi pieces. Here's where the faces get manufactured. Here's where we manufacture the hardware. Like I got to see the spaces, but I didn't get to follow anything like through
Oh, like
production.
a whole, okay.
Yeah.
They're big giant CNCs that are like bigger than this room for one wheel.
Well, and the forging presses too.
They were well no, they actually get the, if I remember correctly, the it's already forged. They get the billet.
Okay. From a
They
from
get like
another
the
factory,
slugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then they mill everything there. So
Because I remember when I did Raise, I
Raise,
mean,
yeah.
this was like almost a decade ago at this point, but it was like, I knew Raise and BBS
Mhm.
were the only ones that had 10,000 ton press machines.
Yeah.
And so seeing one of those.
What's the ground feel like?
Dude, it's just, you're already just like looking at this thing that's like as big as a 2-story house, but it's a machine
Yeah.
just to press one wheel, which is insane. And then, you feel it right through the ground. It's just,
But I think it would be fun.
and then it comes out, it's all fire, and like, it's the coolest. It really, like, and that's what I ran with the vibe for all the footage that I was shooting at the time. But like, just think, like the One Ring being cast in Mordor, like that's what like the vibe of like seeing all the fire and the pressing and like the actual like like thing going from a disc to, which I'm guessing that first step of like when it first has the shape of the being forged and everything, but before it's been extruded and milled and stuff.
Yeah,
that's probably
they just
what,
look like big round giant chunks.
Yeah, it's like an Oreo cookie
Yeah.
of like the design of the
Yeah.
wheel. Yeah, okay. So that's what HRE gets from them, and then they continue.
HRE
to do-
gets them in different sizes. So if they're dealing with a monoblock, it's already slightly wider than the different, because
Yeah.
they don't want to waste material, right? So they have their widths that are set for the size wheels they already order, up to like 13-inch wide for like crazy applications, or 6.5-inch wide for skinnies or whatever.
Here, Nick,
But-
I'll give you perspective on how big the 10,000 ton press machine is. I did a drone shot indoors, just to show the entire thing. That was the only way I could show the entire thing, was a drone shot
Dude.
inside of a warehouse.
Did you
With
dive
this-
it?
Dude, it was insane.
So if it's a monoblock wheel,
No, this was the Phantom days.
Oh,
They,
okay,
they
okay.
didn't do anything
Yeah.
fun with the drones back then.
if it's a monoblock wheel, they start with a slug that's big enough to make the whole wheel out of.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For the two-piece wheels, they have barrels that they make that are all set aside, and then they have, and it depends on whether or not it's exposed hardware or hidden hardware on the way that's made, and then they have like these would look like giant aluminum poker chips, right? That they make the faces out of,
Mhm.
and then they just put it all together.
It's cool. It reminds me of like jewelry, but big.
Yeah.
You know, because when you think of jewelry, you always think of like, the dudes with like the little white gloves and they're all like working on super tiny things. But like, that's really what kind of wheels are for car guys. It's just like, it's
The
our bling.
accessories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, it's cool to see that much care go into something that's, probably going to get curbed.
Yeah.
Or like,
Yeah.
or even just in general, something that is going to be in contact with the ground and just getting beat up that much, seeing like, first off, like, with forged wheels, just the amount of forces at play to just get a piece of metal to
The crazy
become a
thing
shape.
is like, the other half of it too is what is the quality of the finish of the wheel, like the anodizing process, or the because a lot of aluminum wheels are getting some anodized or painted or powder coated. Now the HREs are powder coated, but it's such I don't know how to explain it. Like the blasted finish, because you can order HREs in a polished / smooth finish,
Mhm.
or you can order them in a textured or blasted finish, and that's easy. They blast the shit
Yeah.
and they're with media and they're done. It takes a lot of labor to polish out the face, especially if it's an intricate face. But their powder coating is thin enough to where all of that blasting texture isn't lost. It doesn't just look like orange peel. It's all there, but it's hard enough to where I can see on both the R8 and the RS6 where something has hit the wheel, but it's like the tiniest little pinprick of a spot with no other damage around it.
You would love the another section of the Raise factory that I got to see was their like damage testing
Like
and stuff.
refin. Oh, okay.
Oh,
You would
yeah.
love that because
Like trying to bend the wheel and stuff.
oh yeah, no, they have like full on like wheel guillotines
Yeah.
that like just have weights and like hard metal edges on them, and then they just drop them straight on the rim.
Because they
and,
should
like,
either
just,
bend or cut,
yeah.
but they should not shatter.
Yeah.
It's shattering that they're testing for, right?
Yeah. And just basically like you want to watch a wheel get curved like 10 times harder than you ever would in real life.
Yeah, you'd hope.
By a machine that's like specifically designed to
I
torture
saw
the
someone
wheel.
on Facebook Marketplace the other day selling a TE37 that like the barrel looks like it was just like folded up on itself. I'm like, how the heck? And why are you selling it? Like,
That would make sense. I mean, that happened to my Gram Light, the Ray Gram Light.
no. This one was like really tacoed over.
Oh,
Yeah, and I think Graham lights are
still Rays.
are not forged. Wait.
It's flow form.
Yeah.
Gram lights are flow form, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
Okay, so that's
It's like in between.
Yeah.
It's still cast, but it's denser. All right. Any non-car questions before we start getting attrition here?
no, that would be it.
That's all anyone asked? Or there was too many of the other like
There's
what,
too much. There's
what
too much.
CPU should I use with this combo?
I deleted those
Derp,
ones.
derp, derp, derp.
I deleted those ones, and the rest are basically just car stuff.
Wait, you deleted those ones?
The tech questions.
Nice.
No, I'm just kidding. I mean, it is a tech show, but we talk tech. We talk tech all the time. I don't want to talk tech today. Yeah,
I won't ask this one then. This was based off CES.
All right,
Then-
go ahead.
Then we're done.
We'll just
Oh,
see. I'm just
okay.
curious.
With CES,
I mean, to answer the factory question for me, it would probably be something like NVIDIA R&D. Like that's sort of like, I mean, if it was like maybe 5 to 10 years ago, it would probably be Apple R&D, just because like that was the company that I was like super into at
But
the
it
time.
seems more like Nvidia now,
Yeah, I mean,
especially
honestly,
with that cooler.
I sent that cooler video that Nvidia made to Mark, and I was like, dude, they're keeping the Johnny Ive like White Room video like vibes
It's still
alive.
there.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's always cool to see engineers talk about cool fucking shit that they made.
TechHev is saying it'd be interesting to see what 3D Mark's PCIe test shows on PCIe Gen 5 on that card. I didn't know they had a PCIe test. I've never looked at.
I've never scrolled down to that
Yeah,
area.
I've never
but
looked at like the weird.
I did on accident once, and I was like, wait, there's a direct storage test?
what is this corner?
Yeah, yeah. It's like finding a new corner in your grocery store. You're like, when the fuck did they sell any of this?
All right, Norbert Colon.
Wait, I want to.
But the guy's name is Norbert Colon. We have to ask him. We have to listen to Norbert Colon here.
What's your favorite cheese?
Yes, what is your favorite cheese?
I'm lactose intolerant, but provolone.
Parmesan.
I think I'm down for the Mott's.
Actually, I was just gonna say a mix of provolone, or not provolone, but mozzarella
Ooh.
and Parmesan. I
I
like
like-
Italian food. Italian's my favorite food, and if it doesn't have the mozzarella on it, then it's not
I
right.
like a good Gouda.
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 I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Yeah.
So you like the white cheeses like you like the white chocolate.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I changed my answer.
Well, you don't want any of the chocolate cheese.
You look
dude.
over
No,
it.
That's
I like the
gross.
milk chocolate.
You look over, he's all eating a baby bell.
Like, okay, it's weird. I won't do cheese like straight cheese like that.
Yeah, I don't just. Back in the day, I used to just pick up the block of cheddar and be like, "How?" But not so much anymore.
I was about to make a joke that I was like, I think that's a white people thing, but then then you said it. You
No.
just eat a block. But I don't know if that
Look,
could
these
be,
are old eating habits that I have since
Yeah.
kicked. Okay.
I was gonna say that could also just be a big dude thing and not necessarily a white person thing.
It's a big white person thing. There.
Yeah.
There you go.
There
It's
you
a big
go.
white dude thing.
I feel like a
Yeah,
pretty,
I've never like been compelled to just eat cheese as a snack, like even with like crackers or something like that. Like that always just felt.
I'm
like,
not
sounded
much of a
weird to me.
cheese eater though. That's the thing. I'm not like
Yeah.
obsessed with cheese.
But it's like, you're never gonna order a burger without it. Like it's like
You're
that
right.
sort of stuff. You know what I mean?
You're
Where it's
right.
like
Because
it's
the
like,
burger only comes one way.
Yeah.
With cheese.
Yeah,
That's it.
exactly.
I'm weird then.
You
Really?
like hamburgers?
Yeah, I like hamburgers.
It's weird.
What's wrong with the cheese? Why don't you like cheese on your burger?
That's like
Why
getting
do you hate cheese?
that's like getting fried chicken and being like no skin.
Can I get fried grilled chicken?
Deep fry it and then
let
remove
me
the
get a
best
bucket
part.
of chicken, but remove the skin.
Yeah, remove the best
Let
part.
me get that skinless chicken.
Somebody said they put a block of cheese in the microwave and then dip chips into it.
Kind of down for that.
No, I will tell you this: there is a white
That sounds
there
like
is a
some-
there is
that
a
sounds
there
like
is a
some
white people
420.
food I might partake in later. Because guess what? I'm actually getting a day off tomorrow. I'm so excited.
What?
So last night, my wife was like craving like authentic tacos, right? So we ordered Tios, right? And I should have known, and I've done
I
this
just
before.
thought of the stupid TikTok. White people taco night. And it's like it's just showing all the
White
hard shell
people taco
tacos.
Yeah.
It's like the hard shell tacos and like
the taco seasoning that goes
seasoning.
in the ground beef.
Hey, they were hard shell, okay?
And honestly, white people tacos are fucking amazing too. Like they're it's
But-
just a different genre. But anyway,
that's
when
time and place.
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
to
exactly.
order. I always click small, and this is an authentic Mexican food place, right? So
Yeah.
what do you get when you sit down at the table at authentic Mexican food place? You get the basket of chips,
yeah,
right?
chips and salsa all
The
day.
proper Mexican style chips. So I always say a side of a small bag of those. Well, the bag is like a freaking.
They give you
it's
like a
huge.
family size
Yes,
bag.
every time. So normally I'll just take like a couple handfuls, put on my plate, and then the rest just get trashed. This time I store them in a Ziploc bag because I'm like, I'm taking this and I am putting shredded cheddar on that in the microwave, and I am doing the after school white people special.
Nice.
Right? Those are white people nachos. Well, because I don't care for nacho cheese sauce. My wife hates it with a passion.
That's weird.
But I will,
I love
but
that
I will
shit.
sprinkle, some Mexican style shredded cheese all over it.
I've sprayed like cheese whiz directly into my mouth.
You got me beat there.
Wow.
I've never done that.
Yay, white people points. Barbecue.
Yeah, but
next.
do you have a nugget ice machine?
No.
Down.
and I don't have a smoker either. So
IKEA says he 100% eats cheese as a snack. He also likes ahi tuna, triangle spam, and pineapple on pizza.
I was trying to think of how to make cheese redundant.
And IKEA's latest favorite
okay,
food.
so cheese.
IKEA's latest favorite food is pineapple poutine.
Really? That's gross.
No.
I didn't say it.
No, but we found that's a real thing when I was in Toronto.
I think I'm pretty basic though, because factory, I would still want to see like a Porsche be built.
You
like,
can watch that on how it's made. On how it's made supercar, they follow a Porsche.
Oh, okay. I have something. That's what
They
They
did
also
this
do
weekend.
R8. They also do an R8.
Nice.
Oh, because
Yeah.
I've seen like the GTR, like an R35.
Well, that's
get
my
built,
YouTube
but-
cue tonight. For
Yeah.
Oh,
How
I
it-
know what I'm doing tonight.
No, you need to watch how it's made supercars. They have a
Nice.
whole bunch. They do like Rolls Royce. They do a DB9 or DB12. They do a bunch of supercars. And but yeah, I think McLaren is on there too.
Today I learned.
nice.
Yeah, they had a whole subtitle of supercars.
I still want nachos now.
I ruined you.
I'm about to do it. Like when I go home and make nachos, just like. But I use the oven. I don't use a microwave.
I do. I think I still have. I think I do still have some queso. Hell yeah.
IKEA just said so I can game tomorrow and not see Jay bench testing and launching 100 things on Steam.
Yeah.
Hey, it happens to all of us. Okay, we
Dude,
all
there's
have
been
to see
some
him.
times where I've logged into my ally in bed, and then it's just like JayzTwoCents is running Cyberpunk. I'm like, damn, he's still there. I was like, holy shit, dude.
Oh, you mean like you go home and you still
Yeah. You were like still benchmarking super late, like one night or whatever. And I was like, damn, that sucks.
Yeah. Well, you didn't. I guess you didn't see me on the weekends either.
Yeah.
Almost done.
We invented
Almost done.
poutine in Quebec. Well,
See,
yeah, duh.
You know, it's not necessarily these new cards that are making me have to spend this time. It's the fact that the data means nothing if I don't test all the old stuff too.
Yeah, exactly. We could say that the 1590 gets 200 FPS, but like in a vacuum, that doesn't do anything.
And here's the other thing too is, my brain died. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Relatable.
Oh no! So with the new testing methodology, the redundancy, and like the way we have to DDU the drivers every time, etc. It takes a solid full workday to test one card with the new suite.
Yeah.
A solid day for one card. I've got about 25 cards I still have to test to back on our backlog, but those are going to be cards like going all the way back to like 2060 and all that sort of stuff. Because
You still need this one?
no, that's
Oh,
why I
okay.
was checking to make sure I had others. But when it comes to like most of these cards, we will always try and test FE or MSRP model as much as possible. And then what we do is if we test a custom model, it's more or less seeing what do you gain over the MSRP models, right? And so FE is always my priority if there's FE versions of the card.
Yeah.
Like for instance, the 3090 Ti, we don't have an FE. We only have the EVGA one. And I didn't even include that in our particular testing because I was like, okay, for the 5090, how many cards do I need to really kind of like test what do I think people might be upgrading from to determine that's a card that makes the most sense. So that's why I stuck to 8090 and didn't do like the TIs. I did the Super. I think 4080 Super was an important one to talk about, especially with the 5080 coming out.
Yeah.
But now I got to start going back and doing all the 70 series and then doing the 60 series and then make sure I get through all the AMD stuff. You know, it's just by the time we're done, there's going to probably be like 40, 50 cards on that chart.
Yeah.
And then
Plus
tonight,
Battle Mage too, because that's still gonna be
Yeah.
pretty decently relevant.
yeah, it's relevant, but apparently past the initial like launch, no one can ever find the cards. You still can't find
Wow.
a 580 anywhere.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, they've
That's
been
lame.
since launch. They have not been available. So it's almost like it feels like a soft launch.
I feel like there's been more years that I've worked here in which it was impossible to find GPUs than not.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I think
And there's more SKUs available than ever too.
I know I don't know. I mean I think it all started coincidentally just because it was right around the Bitcoin mining rush and the scalping and all that crap. Like it was I joined like right after the RX 480 freaking Bitcoin rush of everyone and their mom building like 10 480 rigs to to mine their Bitcoin and everything.
Yeah, but most people that were doing mining rigs, right, they were buying like 60 tier cards because of the
Oh, that's what I was saying. The RX 480 was like the
Oh,
most
the
like
first
that thing
one.
was always
the first GPU shortage
yeah.
happened because of the RX 480.
Yeah.
And then they were using like 970, the 970s, like
And then
SCs
that
and
shortage
stuff.
just became big enough news that people realized, oh,
Crypto was a thing.
I can buy a graphics card and then it makes me money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and then
unfortunately.
you know the move to proof of stake has helped, obviously. But
Yeah.
now, I mean, obviously the ASICs exist now. I see more
Well,
mining
yeah.
farms for sale than ever.
Yeah. And I think a lot more people are, instead of mining being the thingy, like the big thing now, it's obviously all AI. So
Yeah.
and I feel like AI people will hold on to their hardware a lot longer than mining people.
Why don't you tell the
Everyone-
story?
Yeah.
Tell the story real quick when you tried to run an AI model on your laptop.
Oh yeah.
This
Yes,
is
I've been
funny.
messing around with running like local LLMs, and And my MacBook only has like 16 gigs of RAM, so I can't really run that large of models or whatever. But there was one model that was just like, oh yeah, it requires like 20 gigs of RAM or whatever. So I was like, okay, cool, that's close enough. It'll probably work.
Because you have 16.
Yeah. So I fired up and I'm like, hello, enter. And it's just thinking, still thinking, and I'm like, okay, something's wrong. And I'm like watching my RAM in the corner going, just filling completely up. And then my whole computer freezes and like the mouse just like stops responding, and then it comes back and it's like, and then it just crashed. And I'm like, did I murder this AI? Am I murdered?
It was able to respond.
Just imagining, like, I guess that's what happens if you shove a brain into a skull that's too small for it.
Well, what I want you to really think about, and these should be our parting words for the show for today. Think about the dumbest person you know and how much smarter they are than that AI model.
Yeah. Running on a freaking lows, like, well, how much did I pay for that?
That's
$1,600 laptop? Yeah.
Well, anyway, guys, thanks for watching today's show. We're back next Friday. We'll be back, obviously. And, it's about to end. Okay, thanks. We'll see you next time.
Bye.